Have you checked the children? Your little mad sometimes.
Hi, I'm Chucky. Wanna play?
Sometimes that is better.
You're gonna need a bigger boat.
What's up, everyone? Welcome back to the Horror Show. I'm Cecil, Laird.
And Jaime and Fuego here.
Back to do another patron request, and today we are fulfilling the request of Willie Penner.
Yeah.
And he requested a movie that Fuego has talked about on the channel before, and I was like, oh, I've never seen that. And I just never got around to it even after hearing that, in spite of the fact that it is a Wes Craven horror movie.
Yeah.
I thought I had seen every Wes Craven movie, but no, I had definitely never seen this in any capacity before.
It's one that doesn't get tons of praise. There's some cheesiness
And
to
I could see why,
it.
yeah.
And there's
What
one...
number movie was this for him, do you know?
Oh, this came out in '86, and it was based on a novel from 1985.
So this
called
came
Friend.
after Nightmare on Elm Street.
It did. Although you can probably see with a few of those dream sequences that two characters in particular have.
Sure,
It's
but
going back to the well, kind of.
A little bit, yeah, but wow, okay, I didn't even put two and two together on that.
2 years after?
2 years after Nightmare on Elm Street,
yeah.
okay. So, yeah, this one, just to do our reviews like we normally do, we'll talk about the overall thoughts, then the story, the acting, the effects, all that good stuff in turn, and
Yeah.
this movie, it surprised me in its cheesiness. Like, this is, to me, almost Tammy and the T-Rex levels of cheesiness.
And
Like,
you thought it was that actress, too.
no, I didn't think it was the same actress. I thought it was literally the same plot, because
Oh,
I
see, yeah.
I thought what was going to happen is he was going to put her brain into the robot at that point. But no, it ended up kind of going in reverse. So anyway, the movie kept changing to me. I was like, wait, is this horror Short Circuit? And then I was like, wait, is this horror, or is this another Tammy and the T-Rex? And then it was still a little bit different than that. So ultimately, though, yeah, it's nothing to write home about. It's not something that I would revisit on a regular basis. I think your way of experiencing it would have been the way to experience it.
Yeah.
So go ahead.
Well, I saw this as a very young kid, late night on TV, and I joined it about
This is an
halfway.
up all night movie,
Yeah,
for sure.
very much so. Yeah, and parents didn't know I was watching it at all, and like there is some tenderness to the love story in this that resonates with me a little bit, and it's just really sad because abused girl and stuff, and we'll get into that. But
That's true.
yeah,
That was a bit heavier than I was expecting.
And I guess there was a bunch of reshoots because when they screened it to test audiences, it leaned much more so on that. And the test audiences were like, oh, it's Wes Craven, we need more gore, we need more violence. And it's always made me want to see that cut. But, I mean, even in the censored level on TV when I saw it as a kid, the ending, and that's because there's kind of a twist, kind of crazy ending. And then there's this cheesy beep, this like electronic evil robot sounding music. And that stuck with me so much. And
which is a play on what the robot sounded like, which was just a guy going, and it's like, okay, I can do that. Like, it's not the most creative thing.
No,
but
not at all.
then they basically deepest bluest with BB. It's like, what?
But as a kid, I mean, the evil sounding robot stuff, and especially some things that happen at the very end of it, it's pure nostalgia for me. Rewatching it, some of the villains, like the bullies, like there's a lot of cheese in this, including To Be Still My Heart, Christy Swanson, great set of tits, I think is what the Paperboy says.
I was like, whoa, bro.
No, the Paperboy.
This isn't that kind of channel.
Early in the movie, the Paperboy says that to the new kid.
And the new kid's like, you're darn right. Like, I was like, because, we had the same, like,
I messaged you in the
hiccup
group
this
thread
time,
about
right?
it.
Like, when I was like, because you were like, you did that in quotes.
Quotation.
And I was like, yeah, I didn't feel right hearing that in this day and age. And you're like, yeah, it struck me weird too.
Yeah,
because not only does the
man.
friend like, yeah, nice pair of tits on that one, huh? The other guy's like, yeah, they are. And I'm like, whoa.
And he's supposed to be the nice, like, neighbor.
The good boy.
To the girl next door and stuff who befriends her, and yet, he's a simpleton as well at
the
times.
80s.
But, yes, indeed. Different time. It was a grander time. Now I'm just
So,
saying,
Fuego,
but
go
story.
ahead into the story, yeah.
Yeah, so story basically, you've got this genius kid who moves into town. He has his own pet robot that he has made himself. And
It's like if Real Genius was actually out and doing his thing,
Mm-hmm.
but focusing on brainwaves and robot making.
Yeah, and he's in like a special program at the university. The kid, the paperboy who meets him initially, he's like, "Oh, are you going to be going to blah blah blah?" And he's like, "No, I'm actually studying this." And the kid's like, "Wow, okay." And he just so happens to move in next door to Christy Swanson. Christy Swanson, yeah, she looks beautiful in this. And I think this was
Buffy
her
prime.
Yeah, this was her first starring role. This was even like what 5-6 years before Buffy.
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah, it was a little while, but her first like major role basically. And it's a very sweet little friendship / relationship.
Which I didn't put 2 and 2 together on that until Fuego was like, "Yeah, Christy Swanson." I was like, "That's who that was." Mm-hmm. Yeah, because she was so young.
It's like darker hair a little bit. She hadn't blonded.
Very 80s. Yeah. Big hair though.
Biggies indeed. In more ways than one. Anyway, nonetheless, she has this abusive father, and the foreshadowing is very heavy-handed. You pretty much know what's going to end up happening. Yeah.
Heavy-handed?
Oh boy, I'm just coming up with the zings all day. And so that basically after something bad goes down with her and her father, that's where I think the kid's name is Peter, if I'm not mistaken. Anyway, our lead genius boy, he decides to take matters into his own hands, and he kind of Bride of Frankensteins this girl after she's like basically on the verge of death.
Well, yeah, his robot gets destroyed by Mama Fratelli.
Whose name is Elvira. She's like crazy old cat lady, just sans the cats. I don't think we ever see any. But yeah, something happens on Halloween, and yeah, so he's without his robot, and then suddenly without the girl next door that he's falling for. And so what does he decide to do is he goes drastic, and once again, it's, Bride of Frankensteining it, and you can, that's when the movie, at that point, that's when the movie, the cheese factor is really cranked up with just the way characters are killed, and I guess that was one thing that they said was added by Wes after the test audience response. They wanted more of that gore. There's something with the basketball that is, it's one of the most notorious kills in all of 80s horror.
Super memed at this point.
It's hilarious, man. It can't be taken seriously. A lot of the kills can't. But then the movie rounds back with more heart in the third act, and that was where, when I saw the film, that was about the time I joined. I don't even think the basketball kill was shown on the TV version that I checked out initially. So, I mean, this movie has a sweetness to it, and it's unfortunate to me because that's my favorite part of the film, and when that was scaled back for just, the lame stuff that fills out most of the, second act of this film, that's where it loses its way. Kind of finds itself a little bit in the third act, though. I mean, you obviously didn't share my sentiments as much.
I just didn't. I was so confused by the movie on a regular basis that it kept changing, and I was like, oh wait, okay, so this movie's about a killer robot. Oh no, the robot's done. Now it's about him trying to reanimate this corpse. Oh wait, no, he's putting the robot's sort of kind of consciousness into her by accident, and now she's a killer robot in a human form with crazy strength with a basketball. And yeah, it kept changing, so I couldn't. It's like I was trying to grasp a wet water weenie. Like every time it would just slip right in my. I didn't really connect with any of it very heavily as a result.
No, and I can definitely feel that. It is really, it's 3 different movies in each of the acts of it. It is all over the place, and it's something more apparent as, looking through these slightly critical eyes after years of reviewing things and stuff like that. But I still, it has a special place in my heart. And I mean, hey, it happens with these movies we see when we're young, and they have those rose-colored glasses or pink colored or whatever.
No, rose-colored. Yeah, you're right.
Yeah. So that's at least where I stand on the story. Jumping into acting, though, Swanson, as great as she is before what happens to her, she is very wooden. And silly
she's very
as the Bride of Frankenstein, and that's honestly that's got to be like kind of a discredit to Wes's direction. And
I guess a little bit,
maybe a little is kind of the way that I would feel about it.
There.
And then our 2 main boys that are friends with her, the paper boy and the little genius boy, they're both fine. I mean, they're not incredible though, and you've got the one-note villains and stuff, like the bullies, these greaser bullies that are like something straight out of, sometimes they come back even though it's the mid-80s, so that doesn't necessarily make a lot of sense, They're
all relatively forgettable except for Christy Swanson, who is so wooden that she is not to be forgotten, which isn't the right reason to not be forgotten.
The way you just mimicked her facial expressions.
That's literally
most of it. Yeah. Although in the third act, where you can tell that there is this like war internally between these robotic parts and stuff that are put in, without getting super spoilery, and with what is remaining of her consciousness and like her actual intellect and everything. Those are some of her best scenes, in my opinion.
Yeah.
Where she like looks at him and says his name in the third act of the film near the finale, where she's starting to kind of remember a little bit about who she is, where she actually has the opportunity to emote. You can tell that she.
But then you get the stupid cops like where she's like Peter, and they're like, she spoke, shoot her, like
yeah,
you know, it's
exactly.
like what?
Yeah, makes
That's not how
makes
things
donuts
work.
for sense, as I often say. So I mean, yeah, the acting is pretty hammy and bad at times. It's very 80s cheese. What can I say? But you know, sometimes I'm in the mood for that. It's not one that I would revisit for the acting, though. That's definitely not the case.
No, and then I mean, segueing into the effects, because that's the other biggest portion of this. It's a grab bag of both utter cheese and like, why is that level of awesome gore in this movie? You know what I mean?
It was obviously forced in after the test audiences. The two dream sequences,
I understand that, but what I'm
especially.
saying is it felt so disjointed as a result of it.
It
You
did.
know,
It did.
like it felt like that basketball kill was like you could almost see a little graphic, like a la Mortal Kombat 2's Toasty Guy, where it would be like Tom Savini popping up going, Savini! You know, like, it's
you.
that level of gore
Yeah.
in the middle of this crazy, ridiculous comedy, essentially.
At times, because it's so over the top, but then I still point to like the sweet little love story between the you know, genius boy and her as well, and yet the harsh reality of this abusive relationship with the father. But the basketball scene, and then also one of Christy Swanson's dream sequences early on, where she snaps the vase and stabs her father, and it's like pouring out the blood. That's the sort of stuff that I did not see in the edited TV version, that I'm just like, wow.
Big difference.
Okay. Yeah, that's where the tone starts just veering all over the place and doesn't maintain the consistency to make those emotional beats that I was talking about really properly hit. So, yeah, it's a bummer. I was actually hoping you would like this one more, but even as I rewatched it, I was like, this movie is not great.
You're asking a lot to have me
yeah.
like it more than I do.
Yeah,
Look, this is very clearly early Craven. Like, I'm super surprised this came after Nightmare on Elm Street.
Yeah.
But
and I think right after.
and who knows? Maybe Nightmare on Elm Street was like one for him, and this was one for the studio, and then he was going back to his work after this.
Well, because after this, what, Serpent in the Rainbow?
No, Serpent in the Rainbow I thought would have been earlier.
Or was that Carpenter? God damn it,
No.
I can't remember. I'm losing all my cred here.
I would have thought Shocker would be around this time too.
Shocker was 90.
Oh, really?
I want to say, yeah.
Who's still good Craven. during
That's
Shocker.
actually, that's one that I've never seen. I've never seen Shocker, even though obviously there was the Megadeth cover.
Dude, I
that was
actually
part
have
of
loved Shocker for years before I even knew it was a Wes Craven movie. It was an excellent horror movie.
Isn't it Peter Berg in that, who went on to Chicago Hope and then became a director? I'm not sure.
The bad guy is the dude that was in X-Files.
Okay.
As
Maybe the hero is Peter
Mitch
Berg, 'cause
Pileggi.
Okay.
That's the bad guy. Yeah,
Oh,
he plays
He's
the fucking
affirmation
bad guy.
villain?
Yeah,
Okay.
he plays
the one that
Shocker.
hits the electric chair and
He's
stuff.
fucking nuts.
That's one that I've never seen, and you guys need to request that so we can make time for it, because there's so many other
Shocker
things.
is why Mitch Pileggi has been to so many Mad Monster conventions.
I can't say I'm surprised.
So there you go, guys. I think that's going to cover our thoughts on Deadly Friend. Why don't you let us know in the comments down below if you've seen this one. Thank you again to Willie Penner for recommending this one, requesting it via Patreon. The link to the Patreon page is in the description box if you guys want to sign up and actually request movies like this that Fuego had seen before, I had never seen, and it was a Wes Craven movie. You know, who knows? There's gaps in both of... he hasn't seen Shocker. I hadn't seen this. So there's gaps that you can exploit here on The Horror Show if you want to see us talk about a movie that you love that we don't know about.
Bring it on.
So feel free to click that link if you want to join up. Thank you very much for watching. If you enjoyed the video, click the like button and subscribe to make sure you don't miss other videos like this, especially if you click that notification bell. Until next time, though, I've been Cecil Laird.
And gracias, Jaime and Fuego.
And remember, stay scared.
You thought I was
My
gonna say
alarm's
something
going off.
else.
Well, I thought you were going to say Jaime and Fuego here.
Yeah.
But, yeah. That was...